Welcome. I kind of wanna make my... I wanna make myself smaller for this one. Okay. Why? Cause game volume is still low. Okay, hold on. Okay, so this is with eyes of eyes. It was late at night and the sky was blue with stars. They were cold and hard, like fragments of broken bone. The jagged mountains which loomed in the distance were reft with mist. Reef? They observed a wintry landscape with the frigid impartiality of Thingvelir's lawmakers, though they were older and wiser than any district commissioner. Snow on the ground and snow in the air. The white flakes which fluttered in the breeze were almost indistinguishable from the stars. It was a beautiful night, but it was not one meant for human eyes. The men, women and children of Mirakot were all indoors about their fires or else in bed beneath their shades. On an ordinary night, Greta would have been lying in bed herself. This was no ordinary night. I'm gonna put myself in the corner. Imp, you took an... Okay, you know, Imp, you... No. How dare you? Ruth had left her home in a hurry, and her hair hung low about her shoulders. Pale blonde strands of hair flew in the breeze, brushing her cheek and brow like a lover's embrace. Rita had hoped that he might embrace her one day and whisper sweet nothings into her ear. He was no longer there. Rita was on her own, with nothing but the moon and the stars to guide her. Her slender arms and legs were concealed by nothing but a nightgown, which offered little protection from the cold air. Like a knife, the air carved into her flesh, forcing to spray exhalations from her overtaxed lungs. Each and every footstep was agony. Rita had fled without shoes or socks, and the snow bit into her bare feet. Her soles were stinging with pain. The snow might have been beautiful, but it was also deadly. Traversing it felt like walking on a bed of broken glass. Rita's bare soles, which were soft and unaccustomed to walking long distances, were sewn, torn to ribbons by the rocks and stones that lurked beneath the snow. Her feet bled, leaving a garish red trail in her wake. The wind began to pick up. It stirred the captive snowflakes which hung ethereally in the air. The snow pelted Greta's cheeks, her shoulders and her chest. It settled upon her, then melted so her nightgown clung wetly to her skin. Greta shivered, her teeth shattered, and she feared she would bite off her tongue. She had stumbled many times that night, but she had always righted herself before she could fall. She did not want to die. It was through sheer force of will that she kept moving through. She had nary a clue where she was going. She did not know where she was running to, but she could remember full well what she was running from. The rich, coppery tang of blood dogged her during her flight. She could still smell it. She still feared it. So Greta kept on moving. There was nothing else for her to do. She continued to run, but the mountains remained as far away as ever. It seemed almost as though they were mocking her. Compared to them, she was small enough to be insignificant. Once Greta had taken comfort in this thought. Now it terrified her. She wound her arms about her middle to fend off the snow, but it was no use. The cold was no longer outside her. It was subsuming her. It had infiltrated her through the raw, throbbing latticework of cuts on her feet, and now it was inside her body, inside her very blood. Greta could feel herself dying as she continued to drag her body through the snow. If her heart beat, it was only barely. Greta supposed she should be afraid of the frigid weather and how numb to it she had become, but she could not even feel fear anymore, neither could she feel pain. The winter wind had robbed her of those. Her toes were beginning to turn purple. She could not bend them, and neither could she bend her fingers. Greta stumbled. Then she fell. She collapsed upon the snow. Winded and as she did, she marveled that she had been able to make an impression upon it. Her body felt so weightless, it could very well have been incorporeal. Her head, meanwhile, was swimming. The wind roared about her like a hungry animal. It meant to devour her as she had seen was swooped to catch their prey. Talons flashing fish, thrashing blood on the water. There's been so much blood. Greta was relieved she had escaped such a fate, if nothing else. But her body was failing her. She could barely keep her eyes open. The cold air was cursing her. It no longer felt like a hungry predator, but a familiar friend. Greta could not fight against it. She did not have the strength. Greta's eyelids dipped. Her eyelashes matted together, almost pale as the crystalline snow which bedded upon them. It was strange. Greta had fled because she was afraid of death. It had terrified her from an early age, ever since Ragna had told her how her mother had passed. Grandma had died in childbirth, her brow slicked with sweat, the sheets stained with blood and amniotic fluid. Greta had not wanted to die. Even now as she lay curled upon the ground, her feet swollen and her chest barely rising. She did not want to die, not like this, all alone, half buried beneath the snow. If she died now, she would never see him again. She had to keep going. But her conviction was fast beginning to fade. The snow settled upon her like a blanket. It was so soft and so oddly reassuring that she sighed. Greta could remember her grandmother, how she had tucked her up in bed when it was storming outside and she could not sleep. Greta's grandmother had died 4 months prior, but the old woman remained close to her heart. If Greta did succumb, perhaps she would see her again. She would see her beloved grandmother, and the mother she had never known, and she might even see him. In her dying dream, he would be smiling, not cold and stiff and covered in blood. There'd been so much blood. But the snow was crisp and white, and it would envelop her and purify her from the outside in. She could barely smell the blood now. She could not smell anything, nor see, nor taste, nor touch anything. There was only the sound of the wind as it whistled through the valley, soft and musical like a lullaby. Then there was nothing. It was warm when Greta woke up. Her head was cushioned upon soft pillows, and her body was swaddled in blankets like a newborn baby. The blankets were thick and heavy, they smelled musty, and they weighed upon Greta like lead. Groggily Greta blinked, and she looked about. Her head hurt, and her eyes did not seem to be working as they should. She might as well have been viewing the world through a film of water. Everything was faint and blurry, shapes and colors running together like melting candle wax. It was hard to pick out precise detail, but even so, Greta did not recognize this room. It was a small, square, neat little living space, all wood with a fire crackling merrily in the corner. A brass pot was cooking over the fire, its rounded, roughly cast corners winked in the flames, and its burnished metal sides shone. Her mouth felt horribly dry, her stomach meanwhile was emptier than a raven's nest. The winter. When had she last eaten? She could not remember. Her memories were vague and jumbled. Try though she might peruse them, they yielded nothing other than snow, a vast, white, endless expanse of it. She had been running from something, of that Greta was certain. There had been the sharp, acrid stench of blood, and crying, screaming. Had she screamed, or had it been somebody else? Greta could not recall, neither did she want to. Greta winced. She could have held a hand to her head if she could, but she was incapable of moving. Was this the afterlife? Hold on. I need to get my keyboard. Perhaps she had died after all, out in the snow beneath the starry sky. She remembered the snow. She remembered the cold, too. How it had sunk into her skin and sucked the air from her lungs. She could breathe now, though, albeit in a labored manner. She was so hot, encumbered by the thick sheets, that her brow was beginning to sweat. Where was she? Oh, thank goodness, she was finally awake. A voice cut through Greta's disordered thoughts, a voice which was warm and full of affection. Greta did not know this room, but she was certain she knew the one who spoke to her. Could it be? The man had been stirring the pot on the stove, but now he paused and came to kneel by her bedside. Took her hand in his own. Palm was so soft as a girl's and quite devoid of calluses, but it still dwarfed Greta's own. She had always been small, so had her grandmother, and her mother presumably had run in the family. The oldest more now, however, in her infirmity than ever before. How are you, Greta? Are you alright? Wait, no. The man squeezed Greta's hand, laughed awkwardly, and shook his head. You do not need to answer that. It's obvious. Please forgive me. I was just so worried. Revelation ramble. You want to rest. You were in a bad way. When I found you, I was so afraid you might never wake up. Wow, that sounded weird. It's been 3 days already. What? This was the first word Greta had spoken since waking. It had not been more complex than a single syllable, but it caught in her throat on the way out. Too large and unwieldy for her mouth, and it made Greta cough. Greta coughed over and over her chest, straining against the sheet which lay atop it. She feared she might never be able to stop coughing. Greta, please drink this. It should help. The man pressed the lip of a cup to Greta's mouth. The water in the cup was cold and Greta sipped from it gratefully. There we go. That should be better. With a bit of luck. The man sat up, set the cup back down by Greta's bedside. She felt so dazed she could hardly see him, but she heard him sigh in relief. Oh, why did you lift with a bit of old flannel while you slept, but it wasn't enough. You're dehydrated. I like to get some food in you when I can. But for now, I think you need to rest. Your face is so white and your forehead. The man brushed Greta's fringe to one side and pressed the back of his palm to her brow. His touch was comforting. Cold against Greta's flushed skin, and it soothed her. Oh, you're burning up. You have a fever. It's gone down over the last few days, but you're really out to sleep the rest of it off. I don't want you to make yourself even sicker. Rita felt so inflammable she did not think it possible to be sicker than she already was. Her head was pulsating, her vision swam, and she was so tired she could not bend a finger. There were many questions she wished to ask this man, but after one further attempt at speech she had lost her nerve. Her first like she could feel the hooks of sleep lacing beneath her skin, comparatively close to death. That much she could understand. In 3 long, tireless nights, it warmed her icy skin, spoon breathed into her unresponsive lips, and dampened her fevered brow. It nursed her back to some semblance of health, but the cold had yet to be expunged from her body. The ice and snow had grated its prison. She was in its thrall, a handful of icy shards still embedded in her heart. She needed to spit them out. Then perhaps she would awake anew in her old bed, and she wouldn't realize that all of this, blood, snow, and the brush with death, had been nothing more than a dream. He would be with her again, and he would hold her hand, and he would reassure her. "It's alright, Greta. Don't worry. I'm here. I will protect you." Greta did not know whether these words had been spoken by the man at her bedside, or whether they were a product of her own fevered imagination, but she did not care. The entry soaps are all the same. Got some popcorn stuck in her throat. Her eyelids felt heavy. Once again they fell shut. This time there was no snow to pelt her. There were only the warm sheets, the crackling of the fire, and the faintest sound of snow falling against the windows. It was cold outside, but it was blissfully warm within. Rita had not died, and if she had, death was not half so frightening as she had once feared. "Do not fear death." Eyes of ice. I love this. I like this game. Oh, fuck, I'm blind now. The dark, snowy night, a young girl flees from a gruesome fate. Cold and alone she wanders. How did things come to this? Reza. Her dolls are when she fell in love with him. Christian. I think his name Nathaniel. Peter. One of them is called Christian, I think. Kai. I've seen the name Christian, I think, in one of the screenshots. Dinah. Nathaniel, Kai. Okay, so there's at least 5 characters I need to keep my memory on. The boys was just the prologue. I might actually need backup for this. God damn. 4 people? 5 people? Hmm. 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 Hold on. Hmm. Hold on. Uh, hmm. Hmm. Um. Hold on. I'm gonna. This is a good cutting point though, because I might be like cut and send this as its own episode, and then fit Act One into its own episode. Hmm. Um. Hmm. Um, I will be right back, by the way. I'm gonna go get water that I have somewhere. Okay, I have my water now. I wanna find someone. Someone I know the find. Anyone who find. Hello, my darling. Hello. Hello. Well, can we just talk about how I made like Peter fucking bright? Oh. Okay, hold on, guys. Doing that. That even ask if they're ready.
Sup?
Guten Tag.
What is up, chat? Are you fresh, awake today?
What?
I'm asking your chat how they are doing. Okay.
Well, one of them are dying. Too fucking hot.
That doesn't sound very pog.
No, yeah, you know, we Swedish people die because it's above 5 degrees.
Skill issue.
Your stream is still running. No, it's not. Why is my voice mod on? My voice mod is no longer on. Why is my voice mod existing?
I have no idea what you're talking about, honestly.
Hamsters. Why didn't my stream start on Discord?
Why do I have double audio of you? That's so odd.
Are you watching my stream?
No, I closed it, but apparently it not enough.
Clearly. I have opened a stream on Discord. So you can follow more directly.
Yeah.
Okay, so for your information, the main character, which is I'm gonna be the main character, is actually a girl.
Sure.
And by the way, here's another thing. All of this is playing out in Iceland. This story is based
Okay.
in Iceland. So, you know,
Yeah.
you're the closest one to Iceland of us two, so you know. No, actually, that would be Lars.
I mean, yeah.
I was
I'm
thinking you were
Danish, okay?
Norwegian. I'm not
No,
joking.
I'm Danish, okay?
Yeah, you both own fucking Iceland for a bit.
I mean, yeah, we own it now, basically.
No, you own Greenland, which is
They,
beside
they
Iceland.
still teach Danish in Icelandic schools.
I don't think they learn Danish. They learn Icelandic, which is like
Okay,
old.
yeah, but like you also learn Swedish and then you learn like German or French or whatever
That's a
and
choice.
English, right?
The mandatory languages in Sweden is Swedish and English.
Yeah. And then you have to take on a third language, right?
Not if we don't want to.
Okay, we don't have a choice in Denmark.
Ah, I mean,
We can just
German understandable because you're kind of close to
we
Germany.
have to do either German or French, and some places you get the opportunity to take Italian or like
We don't have
Spanish.
Italian. We have so the three
No, it depends
options.
on the teachers we have. So
Yeah, but here in Sweden, our three options are German, French, or Spanish. That's the ones we can choose. But that's like grade 7 to 9.
yeah, the same with us, but like it's obligatory for us to learn a third language.
Hmm.
We can't
Okay.
choose not to.
Okay. Time to read. I think I'm gonna start with reading because, you know. But as far as I know, there is
I'm
at
going in
least.
blind.
All I know is there's at least 5 characters in the game.
Okay.
3 guys and 2 girls. Which one of the main characters is girls, so. And that's me. I'm such an adorable lady. Mm-mm.
I didn't. Yeah, sure. Sure, buddy.
Rita Egglesdottir had been born in the farming town of Reykjavik. I cannot read that language.
I
Which
think
was
it's like Reykja, and
Rey
then I don't know how to
Reykjavik?
pronounce
Is
the
it lead?
no Reykja.
Reykjavik. Welcome to the Nordic class.
It's
We don't
called
know.
Reykjavik.
Yeah, but this is not Reykjavik. This is
Yeah,
Reykjavik.
Yeah, I think that's just the way it's spelled, but like the international version of it is Reykjavik, or the Danish version, I suppose, is Reykjavik. So like if we apply the same logic, it's Reykja, and then I don't know what the L and the odd I
No,
and
because
the
if you
weird
read,
V is.
which was not so small as some Icelandic settlements and not so large as others, so this is somewhere in between. Reykjavik is the biggest.
Sure.
So this is 1800, so they might not be the biggest at the time. She had never known her parents, her mother having died in childbirth and her father having run off before Greta could draw her first breath. Hey, but you're running pre-roll, lads. Or did my pop-up use come? In the absence of her parents, Greta had been raised by her grandmother Ragna. What a goddamn name, Ragna.
Yeah, I think it's a very common name.
Yeah, back then. Now, if you meet someone
No,
called
I think it
Ragna,
still is.
I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I don't feel like I've heard anyone named Ragna.
Okay, well, you're not Icelandic, and neither am I, so let's just move on.
Ragna was a small woman with a stooped stature. Her hair, which she wore pinned back in a bun, was white and wispy, and the skin around her eyes and mouth sagged. In her youth, Ragna had been quite a beauty, or so she said. That's boasting her own ego. She had been pursued by dozens of men, all of them attracted by her sweet smile, her bright eyes, and most importantly of all, her quick wit. Uh-huh. Is that what she's saying? Ragnar could still smile sweetly when she saw the sign. Her eyes flashed with enthusiastic zeal. When she told her daughter of Iceland's sagas, her quick wits too had yet to fail her. Oh,
This sounds like it was written by a man. Not gonna lie.
I think it's actually a girl who has written this story.
Yeah, it still sounds like it was written by a man.
She and Greta lived in a small home on Reykjavik's outskirts. Its walls were made of stone, and moss and its floor was uncovered. All compacted earth was turned with wet and boggy when it rained. Are we even gonna do anything except rain in the rain? The rough windows into the stone walls were fitted not with glass, but with stretched and bleached animal hide. I want to read a book now.
Yeah, but like this is a visual novel, right? Like an
No, yes,
interactive visual
no.
novel.
This
So
is an
I don't know
this is
what
a
you expect.
complete visual novel.
Yeah, exactly.
This hides did little to keep out the cold air, and during winter the chill was almost unbearable. There were only 2 rooms in the little house. The bad stuff. The what? That sounds more closer. The bad stuff were Greta and her grandmother spun wool and slept and ate in the small kitchen where they prepared their meals. That's definitely
So
not.
random.
I wonder. I kidnapped someone for my evil deeds. Poor though they were, they had 2 beds to sleep in, tucked in opposing corners of the bad stuff. I
His
have to.
eye. The view. I have risen. I am live again. Maybe I should tell my Discord.
Bad stuff. Normal people. A bad stuff is a living room. Ah, I don't speak fucking Icelandic. Greta bed had once belonged to her mother, and it had been on that bed she had given birth, then bled to death. Oh, by the way, this story is really dark.
Yeah, I could tell from the title.
The solid sheets had been burned in a pyre in the kitchen many years prior, and new ones had been procured, but the unpleasant associations remained. Rita knew nothing of her mother's pattern. She had been less than an hour old when death had stilled, then stiffened her mother's body. Their ghosts haunted their home. That feels like you should probably sell your home, I'm just saying. Or do you not have like an old ancient like Ghostbusters team around?
I'm not live. Well, I'm live in Sweden Catboy's stream. My
Sometimes,
computer is still broken.
sometimes when Greta slept, she found that she could hear her mother's voice upon the breeze and feel her breath against the nape of her neck. I think that's called the wind. The Finch did use as little to protect her from these macabre images as they did the very real wind. Again, I think you're just feeling the wind.
No, it's a ghost.
Ah, yes. Ah, yes, of course, it's just a ghost, guys. It's not the wind. Who the
Yeah,
fuck is
don't worry,
texting
guys.
me?
It's not the wind. It's a ghost. It's fine.
On particularly dark, long nights where sleep was an impossibility, I can read. Greta would leave the warmth of her bed and creep across the bad stuff. It's just so weird. They really like, we need to use Icelandic for this. It's like playing fucking Assassin's Creed again. Like half the fucking game is in fucking Italian. Then she would slip into her grandmother's bed and curl up by her side. Greta tried to be careful, but it was hard to see in the dark, and her grandmother's bed was narrower and meaner than a coffin. And how would you know how narrow and mean a coffin is? There was scarcely enough room upon it to accommodate one person, let alone two. Greta's knee would nudge the old woman's thigh, or her elbow would dig into her side, or her hair would brush against her cheek. Ragnar was a light sleep, and this light child was enough to startle her. Her eyes would flicker open, and she would incline her head to look at her granddaughter. Greta would stiffen and murmur apologies. She had always been reticent, fearful of causing any upset, which a man would wave aside. Do you want to read this? I feel like you would fit like an old woman.
Okay, so I'm the old woman. Okay, I see how it is. It's alright, child. Don't fret. Did you have another bad dream? Rate my voice acting.
Ragnar would always ask, and Greta would always nod, dark shadows pooling beneath her downcast eyes like tar. I thought I heard her again, in my dream. She was calling out to me. She was sad and cold and so very lonely.
You poor thing. Thank you, Random. It must have been hard to lose your mother as you did. You never got a chance to know her.
Oh, for fuck's sake, I need to go back into the game.
It is a pity. Gudrun always wanted a daughter. She would have.
Can you read that name again?
She would have been wonderful mother. Gudrun.
Where's the D?
The D. Gudrun.
See, this is why no one understands Danish, guys. It's
Well,
Gudrun.
No,
Gudrun.
I think that's just a skill issue for you. So like.
No, because we don't have fucking.
It's a soft D, okay, and that's okay.
I will show you a soft
hard
D.
all the time. They don't have to be hard all the time.
I mean, they work better if they're hard.
Nah. She was so sweet and good-natured, forgiving to a fault. She was quick to believe the best in everyone, even when she had evidence to the contrary. That was one of her most admirable qualities. But it was also her downfall. I did warn her that your father, if he deserves to be called that, was a ne'er-do-well. Ne'er-do-well, there we go. I knew it would not last. I so wanted her to be careful. A mother wishes to watch their child have their heart broken. He wasn't worthy to kiss the ground she walked upon. He had he had little to commend him, save his good looks and his way with words, but my Gudrun was naive enough to swallow his tall tales. He ensnared her, and as soon as he abandoned her, just as I had warned her, and soon after he abandoned her just as I had warned her. It was it really is a wonder that such a louse of a man could be your father when you were so very sweet.
Here, Ragnar would smile. Then she would hold Greta close, running her fingers through her hair as she did. I can read, I promise.
I don't believe you.
Earlier I was eating popcorn and it was gonna start reading. Then one of them got stuck in the throat. It was like.
Sure.
Greta's hair was fair and blonde
allergic to
and
English.
wavy. During the day she wore it in braids, but at night she let it loose so it streamed about her shoulders. Greta's blonde hair was very like her mother's, as were her blue eyes, her nose and her mouth. Meanwhile had been inherited from her father. They were all he had left behind, forever impressed upon his daughter's flesh. As for the rest of him, Greta knew little. To her he existed as little more than a silhouette, not a man. She knew scarcely more than his name, though she never said it. It upset Ragnar. Ragnar preferred to call Greta's father that scoundrel, and sometimes when she felt particularly vindictive, that bastard. Ragnar disdained her father, so it made Greta feel guilty to think they shared the same blood. Greta would burrow against her grandmother's cloaked in her familiar warmth and murmur shyly. Was my father really that awful?
Awful? Oh no, he wasn't that awful. He was too weak-willed to do anything truly despicable. He was no criminal, but he was a coward. He promised my Gudrun many things, but when she fell pregnant, he lost his nerve. He was old enough to know better, several years older than my Gudrun, but their age does not preclude one from being craven. The responsibility was too much for him to shoulder, so he left. He was a worthless man, quite spineless. But he was not all bad, I suppose.
You was born from him.
What?
I told you. I knew it. Oh my god, that was too predictable.
No, I heard it as you said. You was born from him, like I had.
Oh, yeah,
got
Bew was
pregnant
born
with
from him.
me and,
Like, what?
pooped me out. Yeah. If it were not for him, I would not have you, my dear Greta. You have turned out wonderfully.
I think you forgot like half the fucking thing there.
Every day, I thank God you were delivered safely into this world. You are a little miracle, and I adore you. It does not matter who your father was. That will never taint my feelings towards you.
You're the bitch.
Do I need to talk slower to seem like a really old lady?
I mean, if you want to. Ragnar would hold Greta closer, steal and caress her hair, and in time Greta's anxiety would fade. Nothing could console her like her grandmother did. Only because you don't have a mother, but that's beside the point. It was unfortunate, however, that her anxiety never kept away for long. I gotta say though, I love the art style. Like, this art is amazing. Iceland was an unforgiving country. The winters were harsh and food was often scarce. Do you remember last time you had a winter like this? Like just white everywhere?
I mean, only like for a couple of days. Like, but not like the entire winter. That was when I was like, I think,
kid?
9 or something. Was one of the last winters that truly felt like winter.
Yeah, we have not had like this kind of winter in years. Like,
Yes.
this is a winter.
Mm.
The people of Reykjavik, meanwhile, could be even colder. Greta was poor, she had no parents, and she had precious few friends. The people of Reykjavik did not trust her, being the bastard daughter of a Varugana cadaver. Okay. Some said Ragnar had pulled Greta from her mother's womb after she had passed. Ragnar asserted this was not true. Her mother had died after the traumatic birth. But it did not matter. In a small town like Reykjavik, rumors were wont to spread like snowdrift. Its city had been predisposed to mistrust Greta, for they already mistrusted Ragnar. Ragnar was a wise woman who brewed tonics and inscribed runes for a living. Reykjavik did not have a dedicated doctor, so people often came to her for help, but they scorned her all the same. So basically, she saves your life, and you hate it. Wow. They thought she was a witch, Greta, the granddaughter of a witch. Okay. Whenever Greta and Ragnar went into town, they were greeted with derisive stares of people just dying to look at them at all. It was a lonely sort of life, but Greta never felt lonely when she was in her grandmother's arms. Random, did you delete something? Did I miss something? Oh, my phone was acting up. Oh well. Sometimes Ragnar would tell her about her own childhood, and sometimes she would spin stories of her mother, and sometimes she would recite old Icelandic sagas. Tales of bravery and valor, rolled entwined with images of her mother as a young girl, splashing in the river barefoot or laughing as her father, Greta's grandfather, bounced her on his knee. Greta would snuggle up beside Ragnar, her eyelashes falling shut, and soon her breathing would even. It did not matter how cold it was outside, it was always warm within her grandmother's arms. When they were together, it felt like nothing could harm her. Step. No. During her days in Reykjavik, Greta's dearest and indeed only friend was a young boy called Peter Magnusson. Peter was of a like age to Greta, only a handful of months her junior. He had dun brown hair and dun brown eyes, and his build was below average. He was shorter even than Greta, and had been for as long as he and Greta had been friends. One would not have known it at a glance, given his unprepossessing features, but Peter came from a wealthy family with a good deal of influence. Peter's father, Magnus, was Reykjavik's chief, and if that was not enough, prestige to be get along with, he was also a district commissioner. As a district commissioner, it was Magnus' job to collect taxes from the people of Reykjavik, oversee marriages and deal with the rare legal dispute which cropped up. Oh God, I'm blind. Owing to its exalted position, owing to its exalted position, Magnus and his family lived in a home far larger than most, with many servants. Their house had 3 stories with wooden floors and oak paneled walls to keep out the winter cold. Their windows were fitted with glass panes. The house had numerous rooms, and these rooms were decorated with luxurious wallpaper and high quality furniture. The family ate from china made in Denmark with silver cutlery.
Denmark? Denmark?
The family ate from china made in Denmark. That sounds so
Denmark?
weird.
That's, Royal Copenhagen. I bet it's Royal Copenhagen, China they're talking about. Just saying.
Was that popular back in the 1800s?
Yeah, and it's popular today.
That was worth more than Ragnar's life savings. Which probably wasn't a lot. Peter's family was in short exceedingly wealthy. No shit! He was the second oldest of 7 siblings. He had an older sister, Margaret. Who's Margaret? That sounds so. That doesn't sound like really Nordic. That sounds French.
Margaret? No.
No, that
Sounds
sounds
very Nordic.
No.
Okay, you're talking our queen is called Margrethe, which is like Margaret.
So
Market, yeah.
basically, you're saying that it's fucking Danes. God damn.
I'm just saying it's very like Scandinavian to be called that.
I mean, our queen is fucking uh, German.
Yeah, but like our queen is Danish.
Yeah. Our king is French.
Seems like a you problem.
Yeah, because we
Also,
became
Chris.
fucking cowards after we got a French king.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's just like the royalty. They're more like peace figures than anything else. Like symbols. They don't
Yeah.
have much power.
Yeah, you're king. So yeah, I don't think any of the Scandinavian king anymore has power.
No, we didn't have a king. We had like he's called a crown prince. So like we have a queen, and then they have like
So you actually have your queen actually took over from the king. That's
she's a widow. He died a couple of years ago,
ah
but he was French. He was a French baron, I think.
oh well. Okay, well back
French
to
lord
reading.
of some kind.
He had an older sister, Margaret, who surpassed him by a scant 11 months, but he was the oldest son. His age being what it was, Peter's father had lofty expectations of his son. He hoped that Peter would remain in the family's luxurious home and take on the role as the strict commissioner upon his staff. Holy fuck, that is so annoying. This is notable that this is plays out in an old time. Because like nowadays, no one gives a fuck if you go after your parents or not. Like back then, you were meant to take over your parents' like job or anything, basically. I'm gonna save real quick. In case crashes. Return.
Look at all these Europeans having queens. Well, yeah, we have the oldest living queen in the world, random. So like, watch out.
Yeah, because the oldest queen
Like,
died like a
yeah,
few
like
months ago.
who cares? We have the oldest living queen, okay?
Yeah, because the British queen just fucking died after 200 years.
Yeah, it happens.
But they definitely have the oldest king.
Well, no, because we don't have a king.
No,
Like,
no, Britain has the oldest king.
yeah, because he just took over.
Yeah, and he also looked like he's
But like, if we had a king right now, he would be like older. If
Are you
we
sure
went
about
like, oh,
that?
you get married, you become the king, but we don't do that anymore.
Peter, however, was less enthused about this idea. He was a quiet, softly spoken boy, and he did not care for the pressures of leadership. While quietly but devotedly religious, he would have preferred to devote himself to the church. And this is another thing. We were very religious in these times in Scandinavia. Like, I think the 1800s was like the church became less and less, but we were still pretty religious back then in Scandinavia. Quietly but devotedly religious, he would. Magnus often despaired in his older son's lack of ambition whenever he deigned to spend any time with him. Man was kept so busy holed away in his study, writing very important letters to his fellow commissioners. He had little time for his family, even his wife, Rosa. I don't know, Rosa? Nah. Why does no one of these names sound... It must be very Icelandic. I'm not Icelandic.
Rosa.
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 Peter had a few friends owing to his family love study and his own excruciating shyness. The other young boys in regular envied him, and when they were him, they ignored him altogether. But it was in Peter would gravitate to Greta, given the circumstances.
Wait, read that word again.
Gravitate?
No. Perhaps it was very Peter. What?
Perhaps it was inevitable. I think I was just like, perhaps it was inevitable. Peter would gravitate to Greta, given the circumstances. They came from very different walks of life, but they were both outsiders. Greta, the granddaughter of an impoverished witch. Peter, the son of a wealthy lawmaker. The pair had grown up together and they enjoyed one another's company whenever they could, which was not as often as Greta would have liked. Peter's father might have been absent, but his mother was exacting and she did not like him singing off to play with Greta. Makes sense! Rosa lectured Peter at length about the impropriety
I think.
My brain is not functioning of it all, but it had little effect. Peter continued to see Greta regardless. That was how it often was. But one summer, during Greta's 15th year. 15th? That sounds so weird. I know it says 15, but it's like 15th is...
Yeah, because it's right. It's her 15th year.
Yeah, I know. But you don't often read that. That's the issue. It's like, it looks wrong because you don't read it that often. Because you put a 15 in front of it. So, written out, it looks weird. Her closest friend and companion was oddly absent. He stopped visiting her home and she rarely saw him outdoors. When their paths did cross, he avoided her. This happened all through June and well into July. It was most unusual for Peter to avoid Greta so assiduously, and it began to grate on her. Had she done something to offend him? It was possible he had tired of her friendship, but was too cowardly to tell her. But it seemed an unlikely supposition. Peter was shy, not insensitive. If he no longer wished to speak to Greta, surely he would have told her. Right? Right. It was inevitable, though that one day they would have to go their separate ways. The older they became, the further they would drift, being from two different classes. This rift would grow larger and larger until their childhood friendship sank into it. A district commissioner's son might have been permitted to play with a poor girl like her, but a district commissioner would not be afforded such a luxury. At 15, they were no longer the children they had once been. The time of their parting was looming. But Greta tried not to think of this. It was the only ally she had in Reykjavik. Her grandmother accepted. She did not want to say farewell to him. The thought upset her. His unexplained absence that summer was similarly upsetting, and though she tried to cling to hope, it began to dwindle. She attempted to maintain a cheery smile for her grandmother's sake. She did not like to make Ragnar worry, but Greta had never been the best actress. Her grandma was well aware of Greta's distress and inquired about it over her sewing on one roseate July morning. What would that mean? Roseate? What would that... Guys, we're googling. Roseate. The other rose colored, the early rose. Oh, so it's like early morning when it's like rose, like it's kind of red in the morning.
Okay, but I'm sure it's not pronounced road 8. Rose 8.
I can actually check.
Roseate.
Roseate.
Yeah.
Roseate. Roseate.
Roseate.
Nope. Thank you. I don't need you.
Now, why are you sighing so, dear child?
What was I?
Yes, you were. It was quite a big sigh, too. You sound very beleaguered.
Guys, today we are learning languages.
Yeah, I would say so.
Beleaguered in a very difficult situation. Oh.
I mean, yeah, from context that makes sense, but like beleaguered. Like, you sound very conflicted. Your motions are slow and sluggish. You've dropped any number of stitches. And you barely touch your skewer.
And what does that mean?
It's like a yogurt, but not really. We have skyr in Denmark. It's like yogurt, but it's not yogurt. It's
Skyr.
very tasty. Yeah, yogurt.
Skyr is a traditional Icelandic culture dairy product.
Yeah.
Oh, Arla makes skyr.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically yogurt, but a milder flavor apparently. So it's basically.
Yeah. It doesn't have like the same.
I think our
twang,
is called.
like
Our version is called this because I think we have a similar thing, but we have a Swedish name. It's this.
yeah, probably like it's dairy. I would be surprised if you didn't have like a traditional dairy product. We just have milk.
Oh, I wasn't hungry.
You good, bro?
Oh my god!
You mean you would gladly go without skyr? But that is blasphemy. No woman alive, or man for that matter, would run their nose up at skyr if there was not something the matter. Okay, I don't like yogurt and I don't like skyr. I like skyr more than I like yogurt, but what is this logic?
Oh, I love that! Like, how dare you not eat your skyr? Bye, potato.
Bye bye, potato.
I love this. This feels like such a thing where it's like when you say something like it's like you saying that you don't like tacos. That's like, how dare you not like tacos? Also, I will say this: no one can say they don't like tacos. I feel like they can say that they don't like certain thing in tacos, but tacos itself, no one really dislikes. Because tacos can be eaten in so many ways.
Mm.
One. Oh no, it's you.
Hey, those are my lines. Don't you dare. Won't you tell your grandmother what it is that ails you? You haven't been acting your usual cheery self. I'm worried.
It's
Eat
nothing
your skewer or perish.
really. Grandma just takes out a knife like, eat your skin.
Like, if you don't eat it, you get waterboarded in it. Which means it is something.
Rita bit her lip and looked away.
No, stop that. I'm leaving.
She could hide nothing from Ragnar's eyes. Her grandma knew her too well.
Dear child.
Ragnar set her sewing aside and reached out to take her granddaughter's hand. I thought it was going somewhere else. My mind is broken.
Beer, you made me say what out loud so hard. What? Well, I'm glad. You know, that's all I want in life.
What do you mean? Would you don't wanna listen? If you're gonna kidnap someone and try to get information about them, you should worry about them in scared.
No, I don't think that's how it works. Just if you don't eat your skewer, you will get punished. Okay? It's like a disgrace to your family. It's like shame on you, shame on your cow, shame on all the dairy products in your family.
I'm not gonna worry about boredom with skin.
This is about that Peter boy, isn't it? You miss him. I forgot to do my old lady voice.
I know this is like half the way. Like, oh right, I'm old. Back in my day.
Wait, never mind. Yeah, I'm like Sophie.
What?
I'm not gonna waterboard them with skewer. No, I'm not saying, but maybe.
With a frown.
It sounds like she does not approve.
She fought to tell a lie, but soon discovered the idea. She did not like to make her grandmother worry, but she liked lying to her even less. I wish it was like, but I like lying to my grandmother because it feels so good to make an old woman not know the truth. Yes, you're right. I do miss Peter. I have not seen him in so long. I'm worried. Old lady? I think the old lady died.
Yeah, I mean, I told you I'm modding in the chat as well, so you had to deal with this. That he has tired of you?
Yes, I suppose so.
Poor dear.
Ragnar squeezed her daughter's hand.
If I know Peter, which I flatter myself I do, he has come here often enough. He would not tire of you. That is not possible. He is quite besotted.
Let's go just look up what that means, man. Not that I totally know what it means, but like we're
Sure.
strongly infatuated. The fuck does that mean? Infatuated, possessed with an intense but surely passion or oh, okay.
Like taken
That
with
makes
someone.
Nah, he hates her. Besotted? Oh my!
Yes, indeed. I've seen the way he looks at you. His feelings are quite obvious.
And guess what? We're in his 15th year, which is often where both girls and boys kind of. Yeah, no, I think he's avoiding her for different reasons than she thinks.
I'm sure if he could, he would sweep you into his arms and shower you with 1,000 affectionate kisses.
Grandmother, please. Rita pouted while her grandmother laughed. I want to hear you laugh now, like I know grandma.
Wait,
No,
how does
no.
a witch? No.
Yeah. Guys, Beauty is a witch. Burn her on the stake. Raina was in her 60s, but her youth had yet to abandon her. Her blue eyes
St.
sparkled,
is over.
particularly when she smiled, and she wasn't about teasing her grandma, much to Greta's chagrin. The what?
Are you not gonna Google that word?
What do you mean? I would never Google anything.
Sure. Sorry, my bad.
Annoyance. Ah, okay. Not that I Google it. I just use that. Sometimes Greta
you
forgot
just
how
thought
old
of
her
it.
grandmother was. You don't even need to do that one. But at once the years made themselves apparent as her throaty laughter surged into a series of hacking coughs. We have
Was
already
it
had a
cough, but
coughing.
I
Rain
know,
had
but
been
I'm just
stricken with a
adding to it.
cold during the wind, and though she had shaken the worst of it off, it had yet to fully leave her. The coughing, when it came, left her breathless with a heaving chest and shaking shoulders. That sounds like me every time I fucking laugh too much. Grandmother! Rita dashed to Ragnar's side, her embarrassment forgotten. She knelt by her, massaged her back, and peered anxiously into her weathered face. Is everything alright?
Oh yes, I'll be fine. It's only a bit of a sniffle. It's nothing really.
Sitting there dying. We've been saying that since March, but it has yet to go away. Maybe we should ask a doctor to see you. What doctor? She's the fucking doctor of the town.
Why would I need a doctor? I don't trust them to poke and prod me with their mutton medicines.
The fuck was the
Okay, old
modern
lady.
medicines back in this time?
New herbs, I guess.
New herb.
I've been selling herbal remedies for years, and I know what I'm talking about. It is just a cold, like nothing else. It will pass.
Like everything else?
Like nothing else.
No, that is everything.
Nah, 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 nah. Like nothing else.
I think you're getting old here, Buey.
Nah,
I think you need your old lady nap. Hasn't passed yet.
I haven't passed yet. We must give it time. Patience, dear. It's just
Ragnar
gonna be very
patted Greta's head.
I'm gonna be a very dramatic old lady now. You must be patient with Peter too. I doubt he is keeping away because he wills it. There must be something amiss.
Do you think so?
I am certain of it. If it is most likely because of his mother. I have heard she is unwell. If what Agnes told me is, or if what Agnes told me is true, she is a woman who really does need a doctor.
I think. Well, Agnes? Agnes? Agnes?
Agnes.
That sounds like a completely different word, I'm just saying.
Well, it's the name in Danish, at least.
Is she that sick?
Ejo.
I didn't know I'm gonna turn into like the old fucking lady sitting gossiping with you at the fucking mall. Drinking her cup of
What?
You know old ladies when they drink cup of coffee at like a cafe nowadays and just gossip about everything. Greta found it hard to imagine Peter's mother, the indomitable Rose, as anything other than a picture of perfect health. I don't think that's how it worked, but okay. Rhoda was a tall, stern, serious woman who ran her household with the efficiency of a soldier. She had given birth to 7 children, but this string of pregnancies had been unable to vary her. Greta had heard it say that Rosa, indefatigable as always, had been up on her feet in a handful of hours after each baby was birthed. I think that's bullshit! You would never let something small and silly like bringing a brand new life into the world stop her for long. As the wife of a district commissioner, the head of a large household, and the mother of 7 children, there was always some task I had to be getting along with. Rosa was an impressive woman, but she was also mildly terrifying. Greta always shrank back on the rare occasion their path crossed outdoors, for fear of incurring her wrath. She had heard Rosa had been feeling uncommonly under the weather, but she had not known things were as bad as her grandma seemed to be suggesting.
She is, yes. Agnes told me a bit about it the last time she visited. She was quite worried for her mistress. Now, we all know that Agnes is prone to exaggeration, but she sounded quite sincere in this matter.
Oh, I see. I hope you recovered. Nom, 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 nom.
I hope so too. I have faith now. Magnus has the means to afford the best doctors in Iceland. As for your Peter,
He's not my Peter.
he must have his hands full. I doubt he has forgotten you though. Why, I would not be surprised if he came to see you this very instant.
Knock on the door. Do you really think that?
I fail to see why he wouldn't. I'm sure your separation has been just as painful for him as it has you.
Don't worry, I already
If
know.
not more so.
I might have read a little bit, but I already know who she's gonna fall in love with because they basically fucking spoiled it. So there's 3 characters that she's gonna like fucking fall in love
Like,
with.
why are you spoiling for your chat though?
Because it was
Chat might
like
be interested.
20. It was like an hour ago. It's spoiled for everyone.
Yeah.
So there's. Remember how I told you there's 5 characters? 3 guys and 1 woman, 1 lady. That's this one. 3 of them is the love interests.
Yeah, exactly. What if someone wasn't listening? But I guess.
Well, I don't give a
your stream-
fuck, Rana.
He is a very sensitive boy. He feels things very deeply, and I know he cares for you a good deal.
I was thinking about something.
Yeah, cancelled.
Random,
Cancelled.
random. Have I ever claimed to be a good streamer?
We're banning him.
Ragnar
banning him,
grinned, her eyes bright with impish mischief.
You should treat him with Greta. Sweet,
Greta.
gentle men like that are hard to come by. I am sure he will make a good, true husband in due course.
Damn! Only issue is he can't be in love with Greta because he's poor!
True
Grandma,
love.
I have no interest in marrying Peter. We're only 15, and anyway, he's just a friend.
Well, she's almost old at this point then. She should be having children.
It's so sad that that's...
But
there's a...
you,
Oh, this is you.
yeah, like you were saying something.
No.
You forgot. Anyway, so there is a man in Reykjavik you care for more than him.
No, but I don't care for him in that kind of way. He's like a brother to me. Ooh. Oh. Oh, that's gonna destroy him.
I'm sure he would be hurt to hear you say that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he would be devastated.
He got brother zoned.
I doubt it. He doesn't like me in that way either. He is too innocent.
Girl bus.
He isn't like my
Girl bus
father.
later. That much is true. I'll grant you that, and I'm glad for it. If he was like your blasted father, I wouldn't encourage you to spend so much time with him.
So basically the grandmother wants them to fuck. Got it.
No, I think she just wants her almost spinstress of a granddaughter to get married soon.
Someone is threatening me on Discord. Hold on.
Serves you right.
Don't make me come over there and bite you.
Gotta find me first. As it stands, however, I'm rather fond of the boy. I wouldn't mind welcoming him to the family.
You would be waiting a long time on that score, grandmother.
Tisk, tisk. How stubborn you are.
I don't think you did. I think you're more like. I think you do the.
It's like. It's like. I don't think it's going through when I say it. Okay, hold on. Let me. Why is it not registering? Hold on. Let me put my microphone all the way to my mouth. Like.
What are you sucking on, little lady?
I'm tisking. It's like. How stubborn you are.
I'm only being stubborn because you're being ridiculous.
Perhaps I am. You'll have to forgive me, though. I'm an old lady. Let me take my amusements where I can find them. Okay. Just sure.
I don't want to begrudge you. You're amusing, but I wish they didn't revolve around my love life. Well, you see, you don't have found a husband and you're 15.
Oh wait, we went to heaven.
Sighing,
Yippee!
Greta resumed her sewing as did Ragnar. The sun approached its zenith in the sky, but still nobody came by their home. That scared the shit out of me! Greta silently considered herself yet another day without pity. Her expectations were so low she did not even look up when she did hear the rapping of knuckles against the door.
Now, I wonder who that could be. Why don't you answer the door, Greta dear?
Greta!
Greta.
Greta set her sewing to one side and rose to her feet with little enthusiasm. That's my brain. She suspected the mystery guest would be one of Ragnar's customers, perhaps old Agnes, come for a saw for her aching back. She opened the door, which creaked at the dispassionate greeting on her tongue. Well met, this is the home of Ragnar Einarsdottir. Einarsdottir. I should know this, I can speak. What may I help you with? But she faltered midway through when she saw who it was outside. The boy framed in the end was one of Ragnar's well, though she had not seen him for quite some time. Oh god, I need to get ready.
He has tragic male lead or like second male lead hair.
Do you think he's gonna die?
Yeah, or at least he's gonna get like thrown away.
His hair was dull brown, as were his eyes, and he looked very ordinary despite his immense privilege. Peter, is it really you? Oh god, no.
Do your deepest voice.
Oh no, I have a voice for him.
No, do.
I have a voice already, because I know secret about this cunt.
No, do this. Do it the deepest voice you've got.
No.
He's a man.
But this is not. He's also fucking privileged.
Yeah, but like, do the deepest voice you've got.
No, I have a different voice, which is very stereotypical for a certain type of people. Hold on, I'm gonna take off my headset. I'm gonna mute myself real quick.
No.
Waiting. I think so, yes. I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
That's the same voice as you do for Greta.
No, I do this voice for Greta. That's other one is more British. The other one is British. It's British. Nah. You definitely need to listen differently. I'm British and...
Nah.
I think so, yes. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. That definitely was more Greta. That one was definitely Greta. Oh no, it's fine. There's no problem at all. Tea? A cup of tea? I'm glad to hear it. Very glad to have a great show at the bad staffer, which lay behind her. Bad staffer? May I come in?
That's the same voice.
Of course. No, it's not. You definitely. I can hear the difference. Of course you can. You don't even need to ask. One is more British. Really drew back, holding the door open to permit Peter entrance.
I hear slight
See it! See it! No, that's all I need.
No.
That's the point.
I don't hear a difference. They're the same person.
Peter drew back, holding the door open to permit Peter entrance. He stepped inside a bad stuffer, which was smelling ding. A smell of wood smoke. And shut the door behind him. I mean, I could go completely.
Just a bit less higher, like half an octave, not even.
The bad stuff of Greta's home. It is unclouded flow and bare wall. Could not hold a candle to the splendor of Peter's home. In the early days of their friendship, her impoverished state had been a cause of embarrassment. For Greta, she had threatened that Peter would judge her, half believing the rumors that he was stuck up, arrogant. Now, however, she felt nothing but pleasure in seeing Peter again. The difference between their two lives did not register. They had known one another long enough that embarrassment was unnecessary. Hello. Okay, that was bad. That was definitely bad. A cup of tea? Hello, Ragnar. It is nice to see you again. That became like the Danish word to say Ragnar. I just didn't say the G at all.
Peter! 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 What a lovely surprise. It's been a long time.
Frog? It's a frog?
I've missed you, and so did my granddaughter. This is good timing. We were just talking about you.
Okay, can we just talk about... Didn't they, like, jump into... This timing... This thing feels like it actually went for a few more days afterwards. Or is this the same day we were just on? I am confused at what's going on. Do a quick save, by the way. Yes. Why is this called... Wait. Oh my god, every guy gets their own act. That means that the next act's gonna be someone else. No.
You were.
You should do one of the male characters with that voice.
Yeah, sure. I'll do great.
You were. That was too close to.
He sounds like a princess. Oh my god,
Can we use? Can we just talk about? He looks more fucking girly than Greta.
Yeah, which is why you should do the deepest voice you can for him.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
He's cute though.
Yeah, I
A
think
cup
that's
of
his whole
tea.
thing.
Oh my. Oh my.
Coppa.
A
A cup of
cuppa.
tea.
A cup of
What?
tea. Can I get some water? You were.
You what, mate?
Peter glanced between Greta and her grandmother, a smile and awkward one. Though accustomed to Ragnar's teasing, he did not much care for being the center of attention. I hope you were saying nice things.
I was being very complimentary, I assure you. I know my Greta. I told my Greta I would not mind if.
You guys fucked. I mean, what? Your grandmother, please, that's enough. I wouldn't want you to make Peter uncomfortable. He is our guest. Definitely all he is. How much do you want to bet that they want to fuck in reality?
No, they're 15. I don't want to bet that. Okay.
It's okay. You can still think about it. You shouldn't.
No.
Don't worry,
No.
we're not on your channel. Everything is fine. You can think about whatever you want about it.
No.
Björn's gonna
Hashtag
block.
no.
Björn's gonna just like block me after this.
I mean, I will contemplate it if you keep talking about like children in that way. Can
It's
we
okay.
move on?
It's the 1800s. This
You're
was
making
normal.
me uncomfortable, okay?
And you understand what I told you about me not being able to be friendly, like at all.
Yeah.
It's in my nature to be weird.
Yeah. Anyway.
A cup of tea? Oh, I mean, it's fine. I like being with you. You can make me uncomfortable. Please, don't encourage her. Worried, Greta shot her grandmother a warning look. Ragnar returned it with an innocent smile, looking for all the world as though she had not hoped to engineer a wedding between her granddaughter and her closest friend. Greta shuddered to think how Peter would react if he knew how the old woman's machinations. Most likely, he would apologize, then retreat in such a hurry he fell over his own fate. Then he truly might choose to keep his distance once more, and for good this time.
So, Peter, brings you here?
You know what I think? I think it's meant to be Peter, like how we normally would, but with a U for some reason. Nordic languages are weird, okay?
Yeah, I mean, it is just Peter. I guess.
No reason in wow, that's completely different than no reason in particular.
What? You're
I don't
making
know.
him more and more like Scottish.
Scottish? No reason in particular. They can be like, are you okay? Are you sure you're not sick? Like, you'll be changing voice like 50 times at this point. A cup of tea? I need to do that to be able to go British. A cup of tea? No reason in particular. It's been a while, so I want to see how you were. I'm sorry, Greta, for being a stranger for so long. I would have spoken to you sooner. Really, I would. I hope you don't find this too forward. But well, I missed you.
He? What did I say? He's besotted with you, Greta. Greta.
Oh no, I didn't mean it like that. We are just friends. Ah, yes. With that story, like, we are just friends. Promise. Nothing weird is happening. Just friends.
Mm-hmm.
Unless. Oh, well, of course, we are. I wouldn't be presumptuous enough to suppose otherwise. Right.
This is painful.
I was hoping to ask you something. Oh, but first. Peter reached into his knapsack, then withdrew a loaf of hearty brown rye bread. Hearty brown rye bread. Are they looking like hearts?
No, it's
And a
like,
jar of
it's
honey.
it's healthy for you, like filling.
And a jar of honey. He set his offerings on the table, then withdrew shyly. Yeah, no, this guy doesn't have a ulterior motive. I know it isn't much, but I thought I ought to give you something. It's an apology for being so distant. The bread was baked by Agnes this morning. It's not warm anymore, but it should still be good. I hope it is to your taste. You start sounding like a fucking butler. Like, do you want a cup of tea with that?
Why, of course it is. Who doesn't love honey? It is so sweet and smooth, but awfully hard to come by. Expensive too.
I mean, you wanted to waterboard your granddaughter in skier, so I don't know
No,
about that.
I'm just saying.
Just eat your skier and shut up.
Uh, ah! Let me watch. Okay. Thank you, dear, for being so thoughtful. I'll have some later tonight.
It's alright. Don't mention it. Hmm.
Oh, but I shall mention it. You have always gone out of your way to help us, and you deserve some words of thanks.
It's really nothing. We have so much food and my father would not miss it. It isn't something to be proud of. I would be... Oh,
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Caroli. I would be proud if I had a thoughtful son like you. You're a credit to your family. Now, why did you come over? I doubt it was to offer alms to an old woman like myself.
I'm just like a But what is exactly, what does that exactly mean? Like, I'm not, I know what it means, but I'm not sure 100%. Like, I know it's like good, something good.
Alms?
Arms are money, food, or other material goods. Living
It's
in.
like goods.
Oh yeah, act of charity, act of virtue or
Mm.
charity. Like, yeah, like I know what it
And
means, but it's
often
like
by giving.
it's
Uh,
often given to poor people.
mm,
That's why that's the difference. Like alms is just for poor people.
it's just like support. Not a gift. It's like support in some way. Do you want to talk to Greta?
Yes, I was wondering. It began, but then he trailed off. I don't want to talk. I don't know what you died about. I'm not here. Ragnar had begun to cough anew into a faded rag she kept in her pocket. She hacked and wheezed into it for several seconds, while her face turned red. Grandmother! Gerda hastened to Ragnar's side, her eyes wide with alarm. Grandmother, does your throat hurt? Can you breathe? She rubbed Ragnar's back, as she always did when she began coughing. It was her second coughing fit in only an hour. Usually they were more spread apart than that. Did not seem to bode well. Is there anything I can do, Greta? She doesn't look well.
I'll be fine.
Ragnar replied between coughs, while waving away Peter's offer to help. The seconds elapsed, and the worst of Ragnar's wheezing cough ceased. She wiped her mouth with her rag and stashed it back into her pocket before Greta could properly glimpse it. She coughed
I wonder
blood.
why. I wonder why it's
Yeah.
mysterious reason, huh?
Then, forcing a smile, Ragnar rearranged herself on her seat, her shoulders squared.
Don't fuss, you two. I appreciate the thought, but I'm quite alright.
Yeah, she's 60. She should have died 20 years ago. But if you're unwell,
She took the mother's life. If she absorbed the years the mother would have had into her own, so she could live. It's only a cough, Peter dear. Put me from your mind. What is that? Now, what did you want my Greta for?
oh right, I want to ask if you might accompany me for a walk, Greta. You're not doing anything else, that is, I would not like to impose. If you need to stay with your grandmother, you can. I won't begrudge you it.
Ha! I'll be fine, like I said. I'm not on Door's death just yet.
Door's deaf.
Door's death, yeah. Let me be, okay? I told you I was tired today.
Yeah, but you're worse than me at reading at this point. I like.
Nah, that's not true. You're the
Oh,
one
all right
googling
then.
words.
Oh no, the door died.
Mixing yeah, the door. You know, oh sevens in the chat. The door did their best.
If it's
Let's
really
judge it
alright, I
live.
was thinking perhaps we could go to the lake. It's very calm and peaceful there, this time of the year. It might be nice to sit there a while and talk.
Ah, I see how it is. 7-0. Thank you, Imp.
Imp just
Exactly.
broke his hand. Like,
This guy gets it. Here's it putting the hand the other way. I don't know who you're shielding, but I'm sure they appreciate it.
Ernest chuckled knowingly.
You two wish to converse in private without this old woman listening in. I can tell when I'm not wanted. Ha ha!
So basically, abuse standard experience. No,
Yeah,
no,
I
I
know how
didn't mean
to
it like
read
that.
the
I meant
room. Yeah, you're right.
you sit there like hi, like oh god, they're back.
It's all right, dear. You and Greta aren't children. You deserve a bit of time to yourself. I'm not offended, and I promise I won't pry.
They will pry. No.
Just be sure you're back at a sensible hour, Greta.
Oh yes, because I have my watch on me, and my phone and 18.
You know, there's a thing called the sun and stars and the moon
Ugh.
and like the inner clock. Why are you snorting stuff? You're gonna get TOS'd.
Nordic. What? I'm hissing.
I can't hear you. Okay, it sounded like you were snorting something.
Yes, grandmother, of course. I will not come home past 9 p.m.
Those were terrifying game of you. Yeah, you're so sorry. I forgot who I was talking to.
Let's go. I'm sure you have a lot to tell me about. I do, yes. Yes. Oh my. So I wish it was less unpleasant. Oh no. Oh no. On Reykjavik's outskirts, a scant half-hour walk away. A scant half-hour walk. The fuck is a scant?
Short, I guess. Quick.
I would assume so. Scant meaning barely sufficient or adequate. The fuck does
Who says
that mean?
adequate half hour walk? Like, this is a fitting half hour, not an unfitting half hour walk. Who
It doesn't.
says that?
A scant half-hour walk away from the heart of the town. There was a small
Okay.
lake.
Tell me you're not a native English speaker without telling me you're not a native English speaker. Speedrun.
The lake was fringed by a sparse handful of birch and aspen trees, whose green leaves swayed in the breeze. Aspen, I think, is kind of common here. I know birch is, at least. Like, we have a lot of birch in here, Sweden. You're a little scant. That sounds like... It sounds like you would say something, you mean something completely different.
You little adequate. You little fitting.
You
You
little
can't say that.
sufficient.
Sufficient.
During the winter months, the surface of the lake would freeze solid, and its banks would be daubed in white, powdery snow.
Made it sound like a
In the
slur.
summer, however,
You
its
little, you
waters would
little
flow clear, its smooth surface mirror like as it
game.
reflect the midday sun. During the spring and summer, Greta and Peter would often hide away by the lakeside. Few people came there, it being so secluded, and they had the lake to themselves. So basically, yeah, they sat up on this bench in the
Yeah.
grass, tickled their thighs, and dipped their bare feet into the water. I want to go to a lake now. Sometimes they would talk, and at other times they would remain quite content to be in one another's company. I want to go fish. When they arose, be it after 10 minutes or 2 hours, it would feel like awaking from a dream. How would they know if it'd been 2 hours?
I don't know. That's what they're saying.
Greta would pat down her skirt, and both she and Peter would giggle to see their clothes damp from the dew. They picked blades of grass from one another's clothes, and then both smiling, they would return to regulate. They basically, does none of
They
them
hung out.
come on. You two wants to be together. It's like so obvious.
Yeah, but like, you can just be friends. Don't force it.
The lake was their private haunt. They had been going there ever since they were small children. Many fond moments had passed between the pair as they stared at the placid waters. Their conversations were for the most part light and inconsequential. show, peppered with
Inconsequential.
childhood reminiscence and inside jokes. And I don't know how they would use the quiet to offload their anxieties. They dare not speak otherwise. Rita. Peter eventually spoke after a brief pause. He glanced to his friend, his expression more troubled than the water which rippled around his ankles. He and Greta were sitting by the lake. Oh my god, that is a pretty lake. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this is based on a real lake. Like, this is a
Giving deeply.
this.
Love
I'm
it.
telling you, this person is great. He and Greta were sitting by the lake as they often did. Their shoes and socks lay on the grass beside them, nestled together like newborn chicks. A cold breeze blew, rumpling Peter's hair and Greta's skirts. Like, this is a lake I would fish at. I would love fishing here. Overhead, a few white clouds scouted in the blue sky. When Greta looked down, she saw the same clouds drifting within the lake reversed. The landscape was so flat, the trees so few, that the lake and the sky seemed to merge. Twinned together like the two-headed lamb one of Reykjavik's farmers, John, had birthed last summer. Hey. The clouds were above Greta's head, and beneath her feet when she rode to her ankles, the water rippled, and so did the clouds reflected on the water's surface. It gave Greta a peculiar sense of power, as though she was stirring the sky itself. I am sorry we haven't been able to spend more time together. This is, well, it's about my mother. I've had to spend a lot of time at home this last fortnight taking care of her. My father said it's my duty being the oldest son, though I don't know how wise an idea it is. My mother's never liked me very much. My grandmother did say your mother had been ill, yes. I thought she used a bit of a cough, but it sounds serious. It
It's
is.
just trauma dumping.
Quite serious. Yes, she hasn't been like her usual self at all. Oh no. Greta's expressions fell. At least she could see now, and clearly why Peter had been so absent. He hadn't been ignoring her after all, he had been focused instead on his mother. It sounds very stressful. Greta nibbled at her lower lip. How do you nibble?
You like it's like biting, but only like a little bit of chewing.
Do you use your lip to suck your lip basically? It's that like nibbling?
No, no, because sucking your lip is like pulling it in, right? It's like if you're biting your lip, but you're like making small chewing movements.
Yeah. I think I figured it out. Weird. Vigerman had been as sick as roses, but she would have been as beside herself with worry. You know what? You could take over reading the non-named stuff now.
Why should I? It's your stream.
Because I need to drink water. Read now.
Yeah, and you can just drink it and then move on.
No, because I'm gonna read a lot of their talking. I need to save my voice. Because my voice is very precious. Now be a read. I think this is...
No.
Yes.
No.
I won't give you a hug for the rest of the day.
I mean, I don't believe you, but also you've tried to hug me like 800 times. And it never works, so
I
think I can
promise
handle it.
you I won't give you a hug for the next 50 minutes. Because that's the rest of the day.
Yeah, no. No deal.
I won't hug you tomorrow.
No deal.
Wow. Nom, 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 nom. Also gotta save real quick anyways. Always good to save. I don't know why. Done by the water. Okay, good to know that. Hey, you should know they down by the water.
Is that water? What is the green thing, by the way? Hey, random. What is that green thing we can see on the stream? You just I don't think Alex can answer.
It's what us gamers do not touch. The unspeakable words.
Is that grass? The mythical, mysterious grass?
Gee, you could scarcely imagine how Peter must have been feeling. What about your mates, though? Can't they help you care for her? They were at the beginning, but Mother doesn't trust them. Why not? It's very strange, but she's got into her head that they are all trying to poison her. Oh my god, rich people problems.
It's just
What?
paranoia.
Rita knew some of the maids who worked for Peter's family, and she could not imagine any of them as would-be murderesses.
Good job.
The housekeeper Agnes had served Magnus far before him. She was even older than Greta's grandmother. Her hair white, her skin withered, and her fingers choppy. What does that mean? Like, what is meant with choppy? Like, are they like broken?
Like, not smooth, I suppose.
I was a
Old
wrinkly.
lady. I don't think you should Google chubby fingers. I think you're just gonna get very gross images. Just
Don't worry. And was missing several teeth, and the few teeth she still put in her cavernous mouth were yellow. Maybe she should stop smoking.
she sounds like like the store-bought witch.
And it
Like,
was a frightful visage to behold, like a melted candle come to life. But she was a good-natured woman. She often visited Ragna for herbs to soothe her aching back, and she always brought small tokens of appreciation with her. A loaf of bread or ribbons for Greta's hair. The younger maids, meanwhile, were sweet enough, all of them cowed into servile submission by Rosa's haughty demeanor. Greta could not imagine them conspiring to kill a spy, let alone their own mistress. Are the maids trying to harm him?
sounds like my
Are
dog
the
when
maids
she
trying to
has
harm your
like
mother?
swallowed water and air at the same time.
Of course not. They wouldn't. They're afraid of her. Most people are, but they don't dislike her. She might be harsh, but she's fair for the most part. Then why does she... Then why does she suspect them? Because she's unwell. There's no proof against them, save her own nightmares, hallucinations. She has been lying in bed for so long, maybe she sees her dreams as reality and her reality as dreams. Ah! Maybe it's this goddamn popcorn making me dry. She's getting everything muddled. She keeps confusing me for my brother, and she says Huldefolk have been tormenting her at night, sticking her full of pins. Okay, now, what is Huldefolk?
Huldu folk. It's like the little video. Okay,
Okay,
I'll
Shopee
look.
is nothing related to hands. But it could make sense with the third one with of a sea Lego river having many small waves. So basically she's wrinkly.
Oh my goodness, you alright?
What are you doing?
You're so right.
Are you sure about that? Because you just like open a TikTok in the middle of a stream.
No, it's. I said you sound like when a dog has like breathed in air and water.
Um,
And random sent me that video.
okay, time to know what Huldufolk is. Huldufolk are hidden
I
people or
think it's like
elves in Icelandic and
they're
Faroese
elves.
folklore. Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, like they. I think they're also called fairies.
I think it depends where you come from, but Huldufolk in Icelandic is and Faroese folklore are like elves. I think it depends
So
where you
they're not.
come from.
Wait, no, but I think the fairies might be a separate mythical being then. Like mythical.
That or fairies is more
They
common.
believe in fairies as well. I know that much.
Fairies has always been like, I think fairies is like common in every like folklore.
No, yeah, but Iceland is more like they to this day believe in fairies. Like if you move a fairy stone or a rock, they have, you will get like natural disasters. So they make like small houses and then they offer them drinks and whatnot.
She isn't like herself. We thought it was just a cold in the beginning. Even she thought it was a cold. She told us all that it would pass, but now I think it's the plague.
Bronchitis.
Peter's fingers scrambled distractedly at the dirt. Aimlessly unearthed a fistful of grass. His palms stained sickly green from sap. She sleeps most of the time, and when she isn't asleep, she rambles. Her forehead is hot, but her face is pale, and she has lost so much weight. She's wasting away, and there's nothing I can do to help. I am scared. Peter! Peter! Rita let her hand fall against Peter's shoulder. It was trembling. He might as well have been made of glass. I'm sorry, Greta. I'm sorry. I don't want to cry in front of you. It isn't very manly, and it isn't fair either. I don't want to worry you. It's alright. I don't care about that. Anybody would cry in your position. It's because you love your mother. I love my mother too, though I never met her. In that sense, I suppose I am fortunate. I had to watch her suffer before she, well, passed. It's that fortunate. I have some doubts. But thank you for trying to cheer me up. Peter offered Greta a smile. It was small and faint and trembled at the corners, but it was a smile nonetheless. At least it isn't all bad news. There's a chance my mother might recover. My father sent for a doctor. He's young, but he's well respected. He's made quite a name for himself. Or so I've heard. 100% that's Nathaniel. Who is this doctor? The man called Nathaniel.
Mosquito?
He lives in Miracot. I'm gonna look this up. I believe this is a real place, but like what Miracot? Miracot och spa. I think we're so Miracot is actually part of Reykjavik. I'm starting to wonder if, or is it? Hold on, I'm doing some research here. This is very important research. Not the spa. Why would I care about the spa?
Didn't you say you were only going to stream for 1 more hour?
I would hope this would take what. I might end anyway. Hopefully this is soon over. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah. Some man called Nathan. He lives in Miracot. Oh my fucking god. Miracot? A small village by the coast, a few days away by horseback. His father was a doctor before him, and he was Miracot's chef. Chief, not chef. He and my father were, maybe not friends, but acquaintances. My father said if anybody could help my mother, it would be Johan's son. Seems to have a lot of faith in him. I hope it is not misplaced. If your father is backing him, I'm sure he will be worthy man. Your father's judgment is unparalleled, or so everybody says. Ah, that is what he wants everybody to say. But if it really was the case, he would have sent for a doctor far sooner. He bleed for a long while, and my mother's sickness was nothing more serious than a cough, until she became delirious. My father does not like to admit weakness, and he particularly dislikes admitting when his judgment has erred. It was easy for him to insist that Mother was fine when he was not the one who had to wipe her down or spoon soup into her mouth or help her do her business. I did try to tell him that something was amiss, but he didn't listen to me, not until things became so bad that not even he could ignore it. He reached for another clump of grass. He gripped it, his knuckles turning white, then tugged. Slowly stained his fingernails as scattered across the river bank. Peter drew back his arm, then he tossed the captive blades of grass into the river. They hit the cloudy surface of the water, and there they floated, like boats leaving ripples in their wake. Peter's shoulders were trembling. His suffering was stamped across his face, and Greta's heart ached in sympathy for him. How much had Peter endured during the last 2 weeks? How frightened must he have been? Greta was beginning to feel rather selfish for wishing he would visit her more often. It was not that Peter had tired of her, not at all. He was tired instead of life and its many trials. I know it must have been hard for you, but there is some good news, like you said. When will this doctor arrive? In a day or two. Then you don't have long wait. He will attend your mother and sure he will be able to help you. You ought to have some faith in him. We'll try. I'm still worried about my mother, but she's not the only patient in the world that gets sick. Your grandma isn't well either, is she? My grandmother is fine. She will live. It's not like she had quite the nasty cough. She has been coughing for a while. I doubt it's anything serious. That is what my mother thought until... Well, I'm sorry. I don't mean to make you worry. I'm concerned about you too. It's alright. My grandmother is very strong. I'm sure she can cope. She is not hallucinating at the very least. She's better off than your mother is. We'll try to sound cheery, but doubts haunted her all the time. All the same, as they had for the last few days. She knew there was something wrong with Ragnar. She had suffered a cough for some time, but it now sounded dry and raspy. When Greta lay in bed, with her grandma, she would rest her head upon her chest, and she would listen to the labored breaths which escaped her. For all Ragnar tried to reassure her, Greta remained unconvinced. She began to fear for the worst. But even if the word was to pass, there was nothing which could be done about it. Greta couldn't afford the service of a well-regarded doctor, not like Peter's father could. She doubted that this Nathaniel from Miracat, wherever that was, would give her or her grandmother a second glance. They would have to help themselves. That had always been their way, and it had served them well enough. Why would it be any different now? They sat with her grandma that evening, and together the pair of them ate the bread and honey that Peter had brought. Honey was a rarity in Reykjavik, and it was awfully expensive. It had been almost a year since Greta had last sampled it, but she had never forgotten it. The jar had been a gift from Peter too, and both she and Ragnar had cherished it. They had savored it slowly over the course of several months, and when it was gone, Greta felt bereft. Honey, even in small quantities, was a brave splash of sweetness in her otherwise bland diet. She had missed it. The rye bread the honey sat upon was firm.
I agree, Randall. This is very...
And earthy with rough crust and a dry texture. There was a little to commend about it, save for how filling it was, but the honey elevated it. It tasted of sunlight and Greta shivered when it melted across her tongue. And it was one of her greatest pleasures, but she was unable to enjoy it properly. Who dares text me? Ragnar had begun to cough again. Perhaps the rye bread had tickled her throat, or perhaps it was the shocking sweetness of the honey, or perhaps her cough had been born from nothing at all. Greta did not know, but her ignorance did not diminish her grandmother's coughs. Ragnar doubled over, one hand to her mouth, her eyes were squeezed shut, and her chest heaved. Grandmother! Greta set down her supper and was soon at Ragnar's side, her lips daubed with crumbs and the taste of honey upon her tongue. Grandmother, are you all right?
I'm fine. If I've survived for this long, I can keep going. Don't worry.
Be happy. How can you ask me not to worry? Of course I'm worried. I'm your granddaughter.
It's
Rita
just
rubbed
you.
her. Yeah, I know. Rita rubbed her palm against her grandma's back in circular motion, as she always did when she coughed. Ragnar said it soothed her. Oh, right, that is what you should do, right? When someone's coughing, you should either, like, hit their back or, like, pat it to get it to stop coughing for some reason. She liked to feel her granddaughter close to her, the pair of them safe beneath the holy roof of the crooked home. Holy, not holy. Regularly might have turned against them, but they still had one another. Together they could keep one another safe. Don't talk, not if it hurts you. I don't want you irritating your throat. Just try to take a deep breath. Easy does it. Here contained her ministrations while Rainer chuckled, but even that was interspersed with infrequent fits of coughing.
You sound just like my mother.
And sometimes you act like a naughty child even if you're a lot older than I am. Why don't you listen to me? I only want what's best for you.
I'm just having a bit of fun, dear. I need to take my amusement where I can get it. Where I can. Yeah.
By scaring me?
No, of course not. I don't mean to scare you, dear. I'm trying to console you.
Raina lifted her head to look into Greta's eyes. The coughing had finally subsided, but it had aged her in its wake. Her skin sagged about her mouth, and her eyes, once so bright, were glazed over, like the scummy surface of the lake in the springtime.
Please don't fret. It breaks my heart when you fuss over me like that. Now, remember, dear, I'm the one who is supposed to care for you.
I know that, grandmother. You've looked after me for many, many years, and I do appreciate it, but you would tell me if something was wrong, wouldn't you? You wouldn't keep it from me to stop me from worrying. That's a lie.
No, of course not.
For certain.
Quite certain. That is why you needn't fret.
Ragnar reached out and tugged the end of Greta's braid in one hand. She meant the years to be playful and it didn't hurt, but it made Greta flinch regardless. Her grandma's hand was quaking.
Your mother entrusted me on her deathbed. I'm the one who is supposed to look after you, and I will do that until I take my final breath.
In like 5 minutes.
Yeah, something like that. I promise.
That was bright. It was until Sunday that Greta met Nathaniel. How do they know it's Sunday?
You know, they keep track.
The Greta met Nathaniel, though met was something of an overstatement. They did not exchange words, they barely exchanged glances. There was little opportunity for it, given this meeting took place at church. Greta and her grandma attended the Sunday service at Reykjavik's church religiously. Contrary to the townsfolk claimed that they practiced dark magic. Their regular attendance, however, was not enough to convince the townsfolk that they were lawful, upstanding citizens. Ragnar and Greta, Ragnar in particular, continued to attract ire all the same. She sometimes thought in her blackest of modes that her grandma might nail herself upon a cross like his had been, and still the people of Reykjavik would scorn her. Human hearts were fickle, but prejudice could be hard to shift, even those devoid of truth. Fortunately, Ragnar was not one to be deterred, and the skeptical glares and scornful whispers she engendered did not keep her out of the public eye.
We must go to church and hang what everybody else says. They would be better served using the time they judge us to reassess the state of their own souls. As Jesus said, only those without sin may cast the first stone. It is as though these people do not listen to the reverend.
That sounds like every church.
I pity the poor man for putting such a panache into his speeches, only to have them so severely overlooked.
Okay, time to look what the fuck this means. Panache.
Panache?
An ornament top is a very especially on a helmet. Okay, can we get the meaning, not the fucking panache?
Can we get the meaning, not the meaning?
Flamboyant, confidence of style or man. Okay.
I don't think that's it. Anyway.
No, that makes sense. Confidence of style or man, like if someone's used it, it's like he has a flamboyant way to speak. Or confidence.
Or a confident way.
Yeah, he has a confident style. Flamboyant confidence. This was what the Rhino always said, or word to that effect. When Greta as a child had talked about stepping foot into the church. Going to church had once been a cause of considerable attention for Greta, but the older she grew, the more accustomed to it she became. Now the glare of Reykjavik's resident glanced off her like falling rain. Quick question: when you when you went to school, did you do your like summer break ending in church or no?
Huh?
When you did go to school, like elementary school and shit, grade 1 to 9, did you, when you went through summer, like you graduated for summer, did you?
No, we only went like during Easter. They had like a special Easter sermon for the children only, like so until like 3rd grade, I think, and then like no more of that.
No, so for a long time when we graduated summer, we went to church every year.
Yeah, we didn't do that. We gathered, the entire school gathered in like the gymnasium, and then we sang songs together, and then we ended.
We didn't do that. We didn't go to the. So when we stopped doing church stuff, we actually did it outside. We didn't do it in United. Because where I went to school for like the smaller grades, we kind of did it outside on the back, on the soccer field we had in the back of the school. They actually built a stage once.
We're talking about when you like when the school year ends.
Yeah.
During like middle school, if we went to church or not, and apparently Sweden did.
Yeah.
But we didn't in Denmark.
Yeah, I think it was before we started. We removed that when I was still in school. That was when it was like removed.
We don't really have that like that much religious stuff in Denmark, and you know with
Yeah, no,
more
I think you have
not
like
being
you dropped religion before us.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've been like trailblazers in that regard. We didn't go to church, but we had masses a bunch. Yeah, but like we did gather, but we just sang like songs together, right?
Same.
Which is
We
like
did
it
that.
has the same effect.
Here's the thing. We did that in church too. The only difference was like it was in the church, which I think was because they didn't want to keep it there because we have religious freedom. So yeah.
Like we just sang a bunch of like songs. So we had like a song called Ferie, which means vacation, and all children know this song by heart. It's like vacation, vacation, vacation. Be happy, you're free. sing a happy melody, laugh towards the sun. It will shine until the vacation is over.
Yeah, we have a lot of music. We had a few songs for summer. We also did, for a while, we did Christmas stuff in church too. When we ended the year for Christmas, like around the halfway point there at Christmas. Like we did go to church a few times there too, but that
Yeah,
also stopped.
I mean, I'm all for it.
They still
Like
made her
stopping.
skin prickle. She was not completely waterproof, but they could not penetrate her. Gran and Grandma sat that Sunday at the very back of the church as they often did. Ragnar was not one to cover before the judgment of others, but she knew better than to deliberately antagonize her neighbors. At the back of the shop, they were obliged to swallow their heads if they wished to cast disapproving looks upon the witch and her granddaughter. This proved to be too much effort for most, and throughout the service, Greta and Ragnar were left more or less alone, a fact which Greta welcomed. Ragged's church was a humble building made of wood. The inside was outfitted with wooden pews, all of them uncomfortably replete with nails which stuck out at awkward angles. That feels like every time you fucking build something. Well, especially old things. Like if it's been there for a long time, there's always gonna be like a nail sticking out in the weirdest spot, and you're like, "How?"
Just a fair warning, I might need to go in like 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, it was drought in the summer and freezing in the winter, wherein its congregation were often bidden to sit on their hands for warmth. They would listen to the Reverend Father Gunnarsson for an hour, and when his speech had concluded, they would stand their legs shut through with ice, and their hands so numb they could scarcely bend their fingers. Most of Reykjavik's inhabitants were religious, though not all attended church, particularly not in the summer when there were vegetables to harvest and sheep to lamb. At its busiest, the church boasted a congregation of around 200 during quieter service, while the figures were a fraction of that. Greta knew every member of the congregation by sight and name. Having lived in Reykjavik all her life, she was pretty well acquainted with the backs of people's heads. Yeah, when there's that's like a town where everyone knew everyone.
Yeah,
Greta,
pretty much. It's a small town.
Greta was surprised therefore when she saw a man she did not recognize. Sat near the front of the church with Magnus and his 7 children. Magnus' wife Rosa was absent. He was tall with fair hair that curled to the nape of his neck. His fingers, which he raised to brush back his hair, were long and slender, and what little of his clothes Greta could see looked finely made. She could not see his face for much of the sermon, but it seemed to her the spitting image of a gentleman. That, she supposed, must have been the doctor Peter had been speaking of, come all the way from Mirakat. This must have been Nathaniel. Ragnar followed with his gaze and offered her granddaughter chagrin. Nudging her in the side, she murmured under her breath as not to disturb the service.
I've not seen him before. Who is that then?
It's Rhoda's doctor. Peter told me about him.
So that's the man who's to tend to Rosa? Hmm? He looks like quite the catch.
You're
Hey,
60,
old
woman!
She's just
Grandma!
off to marry off her granddaughter.
You shouldn't say things like that. We are in a church. You know, the holy place of God.
What's wrong with that, eh? There's nothing sinful about admiring one of God's own creations.
I don't know about that. It sounds sinful when you say it. How do you know he's handsome? You can't even see his face. You could have a crooked nose and a missing eye for all you know.
He has the hair. He has the male lead hair. I have a feeling that's all. He's bearing is very dignified. Oh, I do wonder what he looks like. The suspense is killing me. Grandma needs some action.
I
Do
think
you
she's
think
been
he's Do you
yeah.
think the Reverend would finish his speech sooner if I asked him nicely to hurry things along? That's how I feel about this visual novel, by the way.
You know, I think this woman has not been fucked for like the last 50 years. Actually, not 50, like 40 years.
Ragnar just needs like the soap opera, the
I
telenovelas.
thought you liked going to church. You always told me the word of the Lord was important.
It is important, dear, but an old woman like myself needs to take her pleasures where she
Oh,
can. Yeah, telenovelas,
ooh.
yeah. Oh, I'm quivering with anticipation. It isn't every day we see strangers in Reykjavik. If he is good looking, it would at least give me something pleasant to think about at night. What the fuck, Granny? Like, no.
Ragnar laughed again. Greta made to shush her. Her face on fire, but soon she paused. Grandma had indulged too freely in her mirth. And as it had a few days prior, it soon turned into a series of hacking coughs. When doubled over, gasping for breath as her chest fell, her coughs echoed through the shirt, like gunshot alerting all to her infirmity. How much are you gonna bet that the doctor's gonna come here? Heads turned, eyes swiveled, people began to whisper, all that fixing Ragnar with disapproving stares.
My god,
It's that
imagine
old witch again!
coughing.
Oh, I swear she can't help herself! It's bad and I don't know how would I do that?
Don't go to church if you're sick? Question mark.
Perhaps
Isn't
she's
that
doing
when
it
you
on purpose
start
to
thinking of
disturb us.
church?
Her face burned with shame. She
Seriously?
quailed beneath the weight of this accusatory gaze and reached for her grandmother. Are you alright, Grandma? Can you breathe? We rubbed Ragnar's back, which shuddered alarmingly. But we out to go outside, some fresh air might help.
No, I'll be fine. I wouldn't want to disturb you, dear. Just give me a
Yeah, no,
moment.
this music in the background is like a tale of the Greek until rubbed her against her grandma's back. She rubbed and rubbed between cutting her in till the word of a ghost subsided. It was no longer hacking, but her breath remained labored. Her coughs and stimulated her tear. This music is distracting. Which were brimming and was with
Well,
a shaking hand she wiped them away. Grandma,
I
are you
need to
feeling any
go though.
better?
I can read this. I'm fine, right as rain, in fact. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. You can get random on to do the voice acting for Ragnar.
I think though this is a good spot to actually break.
Okay.
I'm getting tired too. Too much reading.
Okay.
And off.
Cough, cough. Yeah. Wait. How the fuck
An
do I?
unfamiliar face. What a fucking name for the title. Yes.
Well, yeah.
With eyes of
Unfamiliar face.
eyes.
We haven't seen it yet. Anyway, thank you for having me.
Yes,
And
and you should join again.
yeah, sure, sure.
Even though this game is very interesting. With a very interesting grandmother.
Yeah, I'm at the edge of my seat for real, for real. I'll see you around and have a good night or
Yeah.
day, evening, depending on your time zone. Good
Well,
time zone. There we go.
yeah. And I will
Yeah.
be back tomorrow, guys, with golf. Also, you should go check out Bew. Go check out Bew.
Check me out. I'm cool. Anyway, I'm gonna leave. Bye.
Fuck you. Oh, you are a command. No, wait, it's this. Alright. Yeah, guys, I will be back tomorrow with golf. And I'm not kidding, I will be back with golf and other games. Yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. Wait, actually, wait. Need to check something. Okay, no one is streaming that's worth rating. But yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.